The day started out where I was woken up by my mom to have breakfast with her and our family friend. My sister was still asleep. I got up and was greeted with scrambled eggs. They were very fluffy. I also had, what do you call that? Um, oh man, I'm trying to remember what it was called. Hash browns. Wait, no, sorry, not hash browns. Corned beef hash. I had corned beef hash, canned corned beef hash. Um, it was okay. One second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And um, yeah, I think that was it. Oh yeah, and toast and half of a bagel shared between me and my mom. It was pretty good. The toast had some fig jelly on it, courtesy of my mom. Very good. Our family friend made the eggs. My mom made everything else. After I was done eating, along with a cup of water, I decided to go back to my bed and fall asleep. I ended up sleeping until like 10 o'clock. My mom decided to go to church. She wanted me to go, but saw that I wasn't ready and she wanted to be at church on time, so she asked me to vacuum the floor because it had feathers all over it from some renovations that were done yesterday with pillows. So I was like, all right, I'll get to that. When she left, I went in my room on my phone and was browsing YouTube, seeing if there was anything that caught my eye. Um, Overall, I didn't really find anything that was that interesting to me, but suddenly, out of nowhere, my sister opened the door and brought in our orange cat, Malcolm. So he was in my room, and I decided to grab him and pet him and um, snuggle him for a while. I really enjoyed that. He was so cute. I love our orange cat, Malcolm. I even sang to him too. Um, but yeah, he eventually wanted out, so I brought him out, and then I took him outside. So yeah, after that, I told my sister I was going to take a shower. So I went to take a shower, um, did that, put on deodorant, put on moisturizer, cream on my face, got dressed, and then my mom notified me that we'd be meeting my sister. Well, all three of my of course, all three of my sisters, but two of my sisters, along with my youngest sister, at a restaurant that we were going to, along with my eldest sister's boyfriend. So we all got but before we left, we needed to take some fence material that my mom had ordered from a husband and wife duo team and bring it out into our um, bring into our house, so that way it would be good to go for when the construction crew came in and replaced the old dying fence with the new, more sturdy, stable vinyl fence. So we greeted them. We brought in the material, and then we said goodbye, and then we immediately went in the car and got going to the restaurant. Sorry, one sec. Excuse me. When we eventually arrived, um, we greeted my two other sisters that were there, along with my sister's boyfriend, and we were waiting in line for a bit till we were called in. My eldest sister mentioned that it would be a good idea to find a place for us to sit so we could eat our food there. And I was like, okay. So me and my youngest sister decided to go and put the tables together that we could find, along with the seats around. Gave me nostalgic feelings for what we used to do when we wanted to eat together as a family back in when we all lived together. Whenever we were at like a restaurant, we would always like take like tables and shove them together and put seats around so we'd all be able to enjoy each other's company. So yeah, after we're done with that, I had a interesting chat with my sister's boyfriend. It was pretty compelling. Um, and then we had everyone come together around the table. We had chips. We had different types of salsa, habanero, lime, smoky pepper, and some kind of unique mixture I'm unfamiliar with, but it was very delicious. I really enjoyed that. And then we all decided, um, well, um, and then we all made our decisions for what to eat. We actually did that when we arrived. They brought the food, um, and we had everything good to go. Me and my mom decided to share a plate because it was quite pricey, but we wanted to have a nice meal, so we got the biggest thing that was available for a reasonable price, and then we just split it. Um, my a youngest sister got what we got, but halved her order, so that way she could just have half of that. And then my eldest sister or boyfriend, they had like a smorgasbord of different food, and then my middle sister had like ceviche, and so we all enjoyed our food. I liked it; it was very good. Um, and yeah, we like took pictures of the food, and um, my sister, my youngest sister, even made some food art with with a shrimp and a tortilla. That was pretty funny. I took a picture of that. And yeah, we just and we had dessert too. My youngest sister ordered churros and chocolate sauce for me, um, her, and my mom, and uh, then um, eh, my other and then my mom got a what do you call that? Cheesecake with whipped cream and strawberries, and that was quite good too. Yeah, I would say the churros were so good I probably would go back just for that. It was that good. Um, yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We did, and we decided on going to see a movie called The Backrooms. So we decided on the theater, and then we hung out, enjoyed the beautiful weather for the day, and then we went off. There was this cat that was there at the store eating some food. It looks like a really old, dusty cat. I gave him a pet, but then like my youngest sister said, you should put on some what do you call that? Sanitizer, and luckily my middle sister had some sanitizer and offered it to me, so I took that. Was glad that was there. And then after that, we drove. We all split our separate vehicles. My youngest sister, my middle sister, drove in my middle sister car. My eldest sister and my eldest sister's boyfriend drove in their car, and me and my mom drove in my mom's car. So we drove off until we arrived at the location. When we got there, we were in a labyrinthian um, structure of a parking lot. There was multiple different levels, but we eventually found a spot and we got out. We didn't know where to go. We had this lady help us out find where we need to go. We went up an elevator. we thanked her for her guidance, and then we found my middle sister. Said they were looking for us, and they were there like 20 minutes before we were, and we said we got like took the wrong turn and ended up giving us a detour that lasted quite a while. But yeah, we were in this little outside mall area, and we came across like what looked to be like an anime convention, I guess you could say, because like there were ladies that were dressed up as what I presume were like anime characters or something like that. And there was like this guy who was like playing guitar and singing his like music, and then there was like dudes like in the it was like a flash mob, like where a bunch of people were in the crowd with like glow sticks doing like glow stick dances and stuff. It was very unusual, but also very fun and really iconic. I think I like it when like people aren't afraid to be expressive and creative and just be themselves and just put themselves out there for the world to see, and not in a look at me like how kind of way, but in a I'm just doing what I am good at, and you could choose to pay attention to me or you can choose to ignore me kind of way. But I'm just enjoying what I'm putting out there in the world, which is what I much rather prefer. Like I don't like when people try to insist on themselves or call attention to themselves. That's just annoying. I only prefer it like if people like are just trying to just genuinely share their love of something and they're not being obnoxious about it, I guess. But anyways, so yeah, we listened to that. It was a lot of fun, and then it was time to see the movie. So we went into the theater. We scanned the tickets. Me and my youngest sister, we decided to split the bill on a large popcorn. We went into the theater, found our seats, and we watched this film. The trailers leading up to it, a lot of them were just kind of like way too fast paced. I didn't really get a proper sense of what I was supposed to be, getting from these trailers. Like a lot of them were just like generic action movie with like police and stuff, and some of them were like, there was a Chris Hansen movie, I guess, called Prime Time with I think Robert Patterson. That was interesting. I might watch that. That looks like it will be a very compelling film. Not sure what the story would be. Would it just be like why the show was canceled? A dramatic retelling of that because there was about like, there was like a priest who was exposed to being a predator, and he ended up like being surrounded by Chris Hansen's team, and then he ended up sadly. Well, I don't know if I should say that. He ended up taking his own life because he would rather leave the planet than face the consequences for his actions, and be exposed as a fraud and a creep, which was quite a. And apparently, because it caused someone to do that to themselves, the network decided to shut down the show to catch a predator. But seeing this film being made about this guy, it should be an interesting look into the production. I don't know exactly what it's about. All I know is that it's about just the show in general. But yeah, it should be interesting. All right, well, moving along. There was a Minions monster movie. Not exactly sure why a Minions monster movie is being advertised in an R-rated feature film. I guess because the crossover between people in their early 20s who want to see a Backrooms movie is similar to the crossover in people who grew up with the Minions movie and would want to watch a Minions movie, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a weird, like, it's like a children's movie being shown in like a R-rated feature film. Very, very odd choice. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but they decided to show that. It looked really loud. It looked really in your face. I don't know. I feel like the trailer they did before this one was much better. Like the jokes were better time, better pace. This one just felt like a bunch of loud, obnoxious slapstick humor that like was just one cut after the other, bang, bang, bang. There wasn't enough time to let any jokes breathe or to really let you appreciate what was happening. It was all just being put on you, like here's something funny, here's something funny, here's another thing that's funny, and because there was just nothing was allowed to leave an impression, it was all just constant, like poke, 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 instead of and then and then oh, like instead of doing that, leaving enough of a reaction for that impact, instead of just constantly tapping you, like it didn't really leave an impression. Which the first trailer I saw of that movie kind of did. I was like, oh, this is funny little monster movie with some ridiculous, like what the minions are doing a seance. Like that's weirdly edgy for a children's film. Yeah, I don't really know about that actually, but yeah, at least they're not doing like another villain of the week, movie like they've done with previous other films. Like at least it's trying to do something different with the IP of Despicable Me, so that's nice, I guess. But anyways, yeah, very odd they showed that in an R-rated movie. Um, there's a Resident Evil movie being made. It's being directed by an art house filmmaker who's done Barbarian and Weapons. It's not every day you see someone who's made critically acclaimed, like beloved films from like people who love the horror space working on a video game adaptation. Usually, when a video game adaptation is done, they get like a out of touch, like cynical Hollywood guy to make the movie who doesn't really understand the source material and just thinks, ooh, action, hot women, that's all people want, right? And then you end up getting very lame films like the Resident Evil features that, well, I mean, they're great schlock, I guess, but in terms of being films of actual quality, not really. So, seeing something that's like actually attempting to be a quality film with a quality director attached to it, and it's a game adaptation and it's being put in theaters, is pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I'm not a horror movie guy. I know that's crazy coming out of someone who just watched a horror movie like The Backrooms, but I don't really watch a lot of horror movies. But the situation surrounding this one and the fact it's made by a guy who made something so beloved. I have yet to see Weapons, by the way. I hear it is a good movie, but I have to see it. It should be an interesting watch, at least. All right, well, anywho. Yeah, I think those were all like some of the more interesting trailers that were shown. Yeah, so moving on. The actual movie, The Backrooms. I guess I could give a spoiler-free little review, and then I could get into little spoilers. Spoiler-free review. I thought this film was very. I thought it was really atmospheric. I thought it was very thoughtful in its storytelling, how it was taking this guy who owns a furniture store, and it kind of exposes him as someone who is can be quite is like a very self-focused person, and it shows what happens when you push that kind of self-focus to its natural conclusion, its natural extremes. I liked that, and I thought that just the general idea of something like The Backrooms, where it's like the husk of society, like the old ways being continued to be pushed on, just getting warped and losing their identity and just becoming sort of this endless amalgamation husk of what it once was, is something that I think is very valuable and really cool to explore. So I'm glad that the filmmaker felt the need to do that, because I think The Backrooms just has a kind of cultural appeal to someone like me in my generation or even younger, like between the ages of like, I don't know, like 19 to 28, maybe 27, not exactly sure. I know that I was into The Backrooms when that phenomenon started in 2019. I was like 20 at the time, and I just like the atmospheric nature of of the Backrooms, how it was like basically showing locations that used to be hustling and bustling and with life, and now that there's no life, where there once was a lot of life, makes them feel eerie and kind of forgotten in a way that is like a dreamlike and like a long dead memory that is being revisited, but there's like something off about it that you can't really put your finger on, but you know something's wrong here. And yeah, in a way, it's got that very David Lynchian spirit about it, which is why one of the reasons why I appreciate that type of storytelling. I think that's really engaging. Um, yeah, so overall, I would say the movie was very compelling. Um, I felt like it was very thought provoking. I thought it had me asking a lot of questions and wanting answers, and just overall, just being engaged by the mystery of this world and this story. And I just thought that was pretty cool. And the director's 20 years old. Dang, he's like 20 years old, and he's making this like big movie, and he's very humble about it too. Like I watched an interview after watching the film, and he doesn't like say, "Yeah, I did this because like I'm just trying to be like with the big league Hollywood directors, man." Like, no, he was like, "No, I was like into special effects. I grew up with like tinkering with special effects software, and then I moved on to Blender, and then I was huge in internet culture circles, and I found out about something like the Backrooms, and I know that with computer animation, like doing humans is kind of uncanny, but doing like handheld camera footage with like, you know, computer generated imagery and then putting like a VHS filter over it makes it look like it's an actually convincing footage of something like real or tangible. And because of that, it was quite, it had an impact on him. And he wanted to share that impact with the world. And I think that that was a really cool thing that he did. And I'm really glad that he went through with telling that story. Very awesome. And now we have the Backrooms movie. There were some executives who took a look at it and they were like, "Whoa, this is some cool stories, some mythology. Hey, would you like $10 million? And would you like to make this?" And he was like, "Okay." He made it. It's directorial debut, and he did a pretty fine job considering, yeah, like his experience with sets and actors and storytelling, and yeah, very impressed indeed. Now, as for my spoiler review, I suppose I could say, like the story does follow this guy who clearly doesn't like own up to his issues, his problems. He kind of goes to a therapist and he tries to understand what's going on, why he like pushes away people that should matter. And he finds himself in these repeating loops and patterns in his life. And it turns out that he just is very stuck in his ways, stuck in his mind. He can't see the forest for the trees. He just kind of focuses on things that are wrong around him instead of realizing that he might have something wrong with him. And the movie explores that with using the Backrooms as a motif, as a way of him kind of like, because he runs a furniture store, but then he goes to the Backrooms and all the furniture's like melded together or warped or looks like questionable. And it's really like basically a way of demonstrating like how when you let problems dominate your subconscious and you don't try to do anything about it, you end up uh, living in that fake world that begins to feel more real than the world that you're actually living in. And and then he comes to kind of accept this Backrooms world. And when his therapist comes to see what he was talking about, and then she goes into these Backrooms and then gets taken in by the guy and put in this room where he's like at a dinner table with like plates, and like there's like these warped looking people nearby, and like he does some messed up stuff, like takes fat out of like a fat guy sitting with them to eat, which is gross. It's like, oh, I don't know what the heck. And then like there was this other shot where like, there's this lady with like red hair but multiple faces and eyes. I think it's supposed to represent his wife, because like he was kicked out of his own house from his wife, and he was like upset about like, the situation he had with her. And I think, that character was supposed to demonstrate how he felt, how he could see just multiple problems with one person instead of accepting them as one whole. It was a very, very Lynchian scene. Like I really enjoyed that, especially the short guy in the little, you know, wheelchair with the light switch or light lamp thing. And like the therapist is like freaked out, like, what the heck is going on here? And then like she says, and then the guy's like, you mean I feel happy in here? And he decides to accept himself being in this messed up situation instead of taking responsibility for his actions. Moving on, and then he tells this pirate, what looks to be a pirate version of him, that it's okay, we can live here forever. And then the pirate version eats him, like bites into his like neck area like a praying mantis, and like he like I presume he just dies after that. And like the thing is like these big bug eyes and is super tall and lanky, and just looks like like the eyes of a just complete like humanity ripped out, and just a mad animal or insect being that only cares about feeding itself, like emerges, and now it wants to eat like the lady, and so the lady has to leave. And it's really intense and scene that like does get a few jumps and spooks out of me when I watch it. Like, oh my gosh. But the idea of like him telling this warped up pirate version of him that's tall and bug-eyed and clearly doesn't have any humanity in it left, it's okay, we could be ourselves in this space, and then it ends up eating him. I think that was like the director demonstrating that we can, like, if we just accept our problems as they are now and just like decide to make the bed and sleep in it, we end up realizing that we're actually just doing more harm to ourselves by allowing those problems to eat away at us instead of dealing with them. Or it's like you're eating yourself when you do that, instead of building and growing and developing yourself in a healthy and non-competitive and non-looking for, what do you call that, recognition kind of way, like just for the inherent joy of doing it. I think that was something that the filmmaker was exploring. I think that was really cool. And I guess the Backrooms did have an effect on the therapist lady, because she ended up seeing, like, at the end of the movie, we see a warped up version of her at the end of the film as well. I think it's supposed to indicate that the Backrooms are like, when people go into them, their subconscious is kind of projected onto these rooms, and it ends up showing them what's going on under the hood of their minds and how it's like affecting them in a profound way that is like unresolved trauma that they never decide to deal with, and what that ends up doing to someone when they don't decide to deal with it, and they allow it to invade and affect and lead their lives, and it ultimately just leads to them being like eaten alive by their issues. So yeah, I think that was a pretty good story, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, after watching that, we had a nice discussion about it. We enjoyed a lot about it. Yeah, my younger sister said that scene at the dinner table is very Lynchian. Yeah, I had to agree. I think my eldest sister said that she liked the ending a lot because it like showed that the therapist lady was just as susceptible to the back rooms that the guy was, and how no one could really solve your problems but you. So thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. There was a lot more things that happened in the film, but those were the main like spoilery points that I wanted to cover. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on now. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this film. I will say it was a bit slow and it did take a while to get going, but I think that was just the director trying to build that kind of atmosphere and energy of like the unknown and trying to know where the heck is this going kind of thing. And I think he did a good job of doing that. Is this the kind of film I would want to see again? Maybe some parts I'd want to see again, like the Lynchian part, the pirate chasing the lady part, the part where the lady is reflecting on her life and like we see her life transition to the back rooms. That part, like there are parts of this movie where I'm like, wow, that was great. As a whole, though, some of it's very dry. Some of it doesn't really like. I don't find fully engaging, which isn't a bad thing, you know. Again, the fact that this is a first time director and he put something that is this interesting out is pretty applaudable, I would say. Very, very cool. So, yeah, um, overall, solid film. I did enjoy it. Um, yeah, pretty decent. Pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Yeah. I guess if I were to rate it, I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10, or maybe yeah, that feels right to me. 7.5. All right. Well, moving along. After that, we went out of the theater. We went to a matcha store where we got some. Where I got a matcha vanilla and matcha ice cream cone. It was a pretty big one. It was like expensive too. It was like $7.50 or something. My mom also got one, and like my youngest sister got like smoked matcha drink with like ice cream on top, and then my middle sister got like a like strawberry matcha, um, latte, chilled latte or something like that. And yeah, then my eldest sister got a I think she got a cone with like purple and green because they had a purple ice cream in there. So pretty cool. After we were done with that, we walked out. We just took a stroll around the outdoor mall area, enjoyed each other's company, had some fun chats. Um, so eventually, when we were done eating the ice cream, and my little sister gave me some sanitizer because my hands were very sticky from the ice cream, and that dealt with the issue. Yeah, we went to the parking lot. We had some fun, did some fun banter, some dancing, and just said our final goodbyes. We ended up leaving. Um, when we eventually arrived home, my mom was very curious about who this new director was for the Backrooms. I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm afraid to admit, but yeah, we decided to watch an interview of what it was like for him to make the movie, and a lot of what I've already discussed about the film. And what I've heard from the filmmaker, I said earlier. So I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm just going to say the interviews were very informative and they were very compelling, and it was pretty neat to see him break down his storytelling process. There was one new detail, I guess I could say, and that was that he was watching the film, or no, sorry, he was asked by a film interviewer or a movie interviewer, hey, if you guys discovered the back rooms, what would you do? One person said they just poke their head and look around, and then poke out, and the other person said the same thing. But the director said I'd just slap a drone in there and like fly around so I could endlessly explore and see what the heck this place was like. And honestly, I didn't think about giving that answer, but that's a pretty brilliant answer. I think I would definitely do that. If I knew the backrooms like existed, I'd get like a really high quality mini drone and just have it fly everywhere. So that way, in case like there was a creepy monster, I wouldn't have to worry about getting eaten by it. But yeah, pretty cool. Um, so after watching that, we decided to watch, me and my mom, we decided to watch a video about Steven Spielberg being interviewed on CBS Sunday Morning for his latest film that me, my mom, and my middle and youngest sister will be watching together at the theater, called Disclosure Day by Mr. Steven Spielberg. Yeah, we watched a good, like, I think it was like a 35-minute interview, or it was like an uncut interview, something like that. It was pretty fun hearing Spielberg talk about like his beliefs on the phenomenon, whether we're alone, whether we're not. I was surprised to hear that he believes that we have been visited by a extraterrestrial life or some kind of non-human intelligence, and that it's just been kept secret due to these programs that handle this subject being privately owned contractor companies and very exclusive sections of the Pentagon. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. They said that because it kind of aligns with some of the stuff I've heard in like UAP circles with like people like UAP Gerb on YouTube and stuff. So it was, when I heard that, I was like, gotta clap for that. Gotta clap. Pretty funny, but pretty cool. But yeah, it was a pretty good interview. Like he said, his love for the sky was ignited by his dad, who took them out to watch like stars fall from the sky. And then afterwards, he would like read science fiction books in his house. And yeah, that's kind of what sparked Spielberg's fascination with the phenomenon and all that. So pretty cool. I thought one of the funniest things was like, I'm like one of the ambassadors of these like extraterrestrials, and they never show themselves to me. What the heck? What do I gotta do? I thought that was pretty funny. But anyways, after watching that, I decided to say goodnight to my mom. I went to my room and I decided to make this video. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody, and have yourselves a great night. Bye.